Is tax forfeited property a good investment? Well, welcome back. You're about to discover an alternative investment that is different than the traditional real estate world. I'm referring to the non-traditional real estate world where tax certificates and tax defaulted property, these are really forfeited properties which are called tax defaulted. Okay, now they could be homes, they could be small offices, small industrial buildings, they could be small farms. You're kind of getting the idea. These are properties that have come up for auction because the property owner did not pay the taxes. If they don't pay the tax, they are forfeiting the property to the local government. Now, property tax forfeiture is a process that the state legislature has authorized. In other words, the ownership is going to change from the private owner to the county. In other words, the private owner for non-payment of taxes is now going to forfeit the property for non-payment of taxes. It's also very likely at the same time that happens that the county will wipe out the mortgage and the deed of trust loan. All right, so this is a whole new ballgame. So let's go into the details of this. Tax lien certificates are available in about half of the states, but all of the counties will sell tax defaulted property. That means the property has been forfeited to the county. So tax deed sales are authorized all the states, all the counties, and when you have finished the auction, you now become the owner of that property. Now, it takes a few days to get the deed, so you can't go on the property until you have the deed. But once you have the deed, you are now the owner of the property. It's almost instant. You just have to wait for the county to issue the deed. These are all public auctions. Anybody can attend the auction.
How better go there? How better go there? How better go where? How better go here? How better now? How better go?
Now, how will you know about the auction? Well, the county will notify you by number one, they'll put it on the county website. They'll also announce it in the newspaper. And in some counties, they'll have private auction companies do it. All right, so these are listed so you'll always know about it. All right, now in this episode, I'm covering, is tax forfeited property a good investment? Tax forfeited simply means it's tax defaulted. The property owner has forfeited the property to the local county. All right, can that be a good investment? Yeah, it can be a great investment, but I don't know until you've gone out and checked the actual property. So remember, in half the states, they'll start with a tax lien certificate. I don't think I need to spend a lot of time there, but that's the method the county uses to force people to pay the taxes. If they don't pay the taxes, well, the county issues a tax lien certificate. Now, the tax lien certificates, they'll always have a redemption period. So during that redemption period, the people stay on the property. So you can't go on the property, you can't do anything. You just have to wait for them to get through that redemption period where they're going to come in and pay their taxes. Now, all the time that the taxes are not being paid, the people are staying in the property and you have no rights. However, when the redemption period expires, well, guess what? You're going to get that property in most states. In Florida, the property has to go to another auction. All right, so what does the county do? Why would you want to buy a tax certificate? Because the county promises, they actually make a covenant that you'll get paid a high interest rate, 16%, 18, 24, all the way up to 36% could be paid on a tax lien certificate. However, on a tax defaulted property, which really is, it's a tax forfeited property. It's forfeited by the property owner, and the government has now taken over. So this episode is really titled, Is Tax Forfeited Property a Good Investment? Well, it can be if you buy it at the right price. If you could buy it low and it had a high tax assessed value, well, that difference could be your margin. So if you could buy it for 10 or 20 cents on the dollar and it was selling in the market for much higher than that, well, then you'd make a good deal. All right, so at some point in time, if it's a tax lien certificate and it's gone through the redemption period, well, now it's going to tax auction. So what does that mean? It's a forfeited property. The property owner has forfeited the property to the local county. And when normal terms, people say the property was confiscated, it was seized by the county, but the property owner actually forfeits the property. So it's not unusual for this to happen. Now, what happens with the property once the property owner is forfeited? Well, the county can sell it for any price they want. Many times, the auction will start at 10 or 20 cents on the dollar, even though the tax assessed value might be much higher. So the treasurer tax collector can start the auction any place they want. That doesn't mean it's going to sell for that. They might start the auction at $100, but the market's going to determine, the bidders are going to determine what the property will actually sell for. All right, so understand that when you buy a property at a tax defaulted auction, the county confiscated and seized the property, but the property owner forfeited the property. And that's the title of this episode. Is tax forfeited property a good investment? It can be if you understand how to check the condition of the property and make sure that the title doesn't have defect. They might sell that property for 10 or 20 cents on the dollar. There will be thousands of properties nationwide that will be forfeited to the county for non-payment of taxes. All right, now once the county has a property, they can discount it and do whatever they want. There's over 5,000 tax auctions every year. So every county will have one or more tax defaulted auctions. All right, anybody can buy at those auctions. They just have to have money to do that. All right, so why are you here? Well, many of you are entrepreneurs and you want to make a lot of money or you want to be famous. I don't know where you are and where you want to do, but I can tell you if you want to be in an entrepreneurial business, tax defaulted properties are certainly entrepreneurial business. You don't work for somebody else and no one gives you orders. You work when you want. You work on what you want as against being told what to do all the time. Now, I know many student entrepreneurs, they start out working for somebody else and they're working 40 hours a week. All right, but then they find out that they don't like working for somebody else and they don't like being told what to do. So they go home and they end up working 60 hours a week to make the same amount of money, but they're making their own decision and that's what they want. So maybe that's you and that's where you fit in. All right, what are we talking about today? We're talking about, is tax forfeited property a good investment? So it starts out with a default. The county has to do something about it. So they give notice. If the people don't pay any attention, the property owner pays no attention, the county will ultimately seize and confiscate the property. That means the property owner forfeited the property. So could this be a good investment? Yes, it could be, but you need to go check the condition of the property. That means you have to have boots on the ground. County will decide the bidding process anywhere they want. All right, so if you could buy a property for, let's say, 10 cents on the dollar or 20 cents on the dollar, and you could put signs on it, and then you could sell it on Craigslist, or you could think about selling on eBay or Facebook Marketplace or any one of those places. If you could buy that property for 10 or 20 cents and sell it for 50 or 60 cents, well, would that work for you? Well, it sure worked for me, and it works for the county because the county needs the money. They need the revenue to pay the county employees. And how about you? If you had a property, if you bought the property at 10 or 20 cents and sold it at 50 or 60 cents, you would have a nice margin in there and you'd be helping your family. So both parties, everyone profits except the one that forfeited the property. That's really not a good idea. All right, so my answer today to the question again was, is tax forfeited property a good investment? My answer is always maybe. And what do I say maybe? Because you got to check the property and see if it's any good. That means you have to have boots on the ground and check it out. Now, I'm about to run out of time, and I do want to mention, and I haven't had a chance to do it today, but I want to mention, for those of you that want to learn about tax liens and tax deeds, you see those little white circles? That's how many auctions are taking place within that state in the next 90 days. This calendar updates every single day. I'm here today to show you how to make money. To do that, I'm going to show you briefly that there are thousands of tax defaulted real estate properties across the 3,000 plus counties in the United States. This is quite interesting. You're looking at the Ted Thomas Magic Interactive Map and Auction Calendar. It changes every day. Now, I created the calendar and the map so I would know how many auctions are taking place every day in the United States. Now I can show the little guy how to make money. Most importantly, I created this system so I could have an auction list for each auction 24/7. Well, the large population counties have hundreds of forfeited properties at the tax defaulted auctions. The smaller counties, smaller population counties, will only have dozens of property. The county doesn't want the property, folks, so they encourage bids, low bids, so that they can get rid of the property. Why they want to get rid of it? They don't want it. They want to get it back on the tax roll, so they can start the auction at any price they want. So if you have an auction list, you can look at that. You see many properties will start out at 10 or 20 cents on the dollar. These are all properties that have been forfeited. In other words, the people didn't pay their tax and the county went ahead and confiscated the property. All right, the county's objective is to collect back taxes so they can pay the county bills. Now, I'm running out of time. That's all the time I have for today. So I want to mention two things before I go. One, if you're going to get involved in tax defaulted property, be sure that you have boots on the ground and you check the property. I don't know whether there's been a fire or there was a hurricane or a flood or it was next to a pig farm. So that's number one. Number two, you want to make sure you have an exit strategy. So make sure you've looked at the property and you've gone and looked and know what you're going to be able to sell it for. If you'd like to have an auction list, well, you can go right below me and you can get a sample auction list just by letting them know that you want one. I'm Ted Thomas. Don't forget, request your free auction list right below me.